Suicune is back with the Indigo Disk DLC, and let me tell you right now, this beast is amazing. Today we're trying out a Choice Specs Tera Electric moveset, and boy does it put in some work. Will it be enough to win us the game though? Listen, today we have a brilliant JustWeavile versus Pokemaster88 from the Discord server, and let me tell you, it is an excellent game. Be sure to join the Discord server. It's the best place to go for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet WiFi right now. There is a link in the description down below. Friendly reminder to drop a like on the video and be sure to subscribe for more WiFi content as well. Here are the teams. Let me know who you think will win in the comment section down below, and stick around till the end to find out if you're right. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the battle. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Pokemaster. So they're going to lead off with Bramblegast, the Sand Swept, as we lead off with Scizor. So it's nighttime. The battle's looking pretty dark, but it's alright. So what we could do is we could go for a knockoff straight away. Knockoff would be really useful against their team. Just knocking off any item in general would be really cool. Or we could go for a U-turn. I'm leaning towards the knockoff, so I'm going to go for the knockoff. I don't think they stay in here, though. I think they switch out. They do withdraw, which means we get a knockoff, a clean knockoff off on something on their team. And that's going to be the Donphan that comes in. So Donphan is in, the Sinnoh champion, nice and shiny, gotta love it. We go for a knockoff real quick, and that's going to do a decent chunk of damage to the Donphan, knocking off its leftovers, so we don't even get Rocky Helmet chip, which is nice. So, if we assume they're going to go for a Stealth Rocks here, we should go Suicune, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go straight to Suicune, and we don't have to give away the set that we are just yet. So, if we assume they'll go Clodsire, after this. So they go for the Stealth Rocks as expected. Brilliant. It's always nice when you predict right. And now I'm going to guess that they're going to go for the Clodsire switch. So I'm going to go for the Ice Beam real quick. And that should do a lot of damage to the Clodsire thanks to our choice specs. And it'll KO the Donphan if they stay in, which they don't, obviously. So in comes Clodsire the Chipper. So we made the right play again. Off to a good start. That's for sure. So we go for an Ice Beam. Let's see how much damage this is doing. Over half. Perfect. That's what we want. Is a crit. That's why. It's a crit. So now I'm leaning towards the whole. They're probably gonna go for a recover here. So I kind of want to go into my Iron Treads. There's no reason not to go into Iron Treads. Actually, it's the perfect Pokemon to go into. So I'm gonna go into the Iron Treads here. I would have stayed in and go for an Ice Beam and chanced it, but I don't want to get toxic or anything like that. Suicune does pretty well against their team, so I want to keep it around if I can. Its choice specs Suicune, it actually surprisingly works out really well. So they do go for a recover, which is what we probably would expect them to do. So let's see how this plays out now. I'm guessing they're going to switch out into the Iron Jugulis or the Bramblegast. I would say they go Bramblegast to block the Rapid Spin. So I'm going to go for a knockoff here. If the knockoff doesn't work out, then it's not a big deal because Clodsire can't really touch us. They do withdraw the Clodsire. What are they going to go into though? That's the real question. Donphan comes back in. So Donphan's already had its item knocked off, which means we can't really do anything to it damage-wise here, as the knockoff's going to come through, and it does diddly squat. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm glad I didn't go for a Supercell Slam expecting the Iron Jugulis to come in. With Donphan here, they're probably going to go for a Rapid Spin or an Earthquake, I would say. They can't go for an Earthquake, actually. Might be a good idea to just get some damage off or get the Rapid Spin off. I think I'm going to go for the Rapid Spin play. I think that's the right thing to do. So we go for a Rapid Spin now. It's going to do some minimal damage to Donphan, but it does get rid of those Stealth Rocks that they set up earlier, which is going to be important for later with the Incineroar and everything. They go for a knockoff, though, breaking our Air Balloon, which is unfortunate, to popping our Air Balloon, should I say. So now I'm leaning towards a different kind of play. I think they go for a Stealth Rock here or an Earthquake. So I kind of want to stay in and go for a Sticky Webs. Sticky Webs could be good because they've got a pretty fast team, somewhat. Bramblegast is the fastest Pokemon on the team, actually. Or I'm also leaning towards Como. Como could be a good switch here, so I am going to go the Como switch because Como does do pretty well against their team. The fact that they brought the Clodsire in on the Suicune earlier as well makes me think that they're Water Absorber not unaware. So we might be alright here. So they go for a Bulldoze, which is an interesting move that actually lowers your speed, if you didn't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for that Clanging Scales because they do not have a Dragon Resist on their team. So I'm going to go for the Clanging Scales real quick. And as you would expect, they're going to go ahead and withdraw the Donphan. And they're going to go into the Clodsire. So Clodsire is in. Let's see how well Clodsire takes us on. So it's nice and shiny, got to love it. Clanging Scales comes through, doesn't do too much damage, but we do lower our defense. And because we're using a sound-based move, we're going to pop our Throw Spray right now, which is going to boost our special attack even further. So, they probably go for a Toxic here, if I had to guess. If I had to guess, they go for a Toxic here. In which case, I should withdraw and go into my Elon Tusk over here. I am going to go for that. If they go for an EQ expecting us to switch into Iron Treads, then so be it, because the Air Balloon is now gone. We will take some damage, but I don't think it KOs, because Clodsire is not exactly the most powerful physical attacker in the world. But Toxic comes through. Obviously, it's not going to work on a Steel type. But this gives us a good opportunity to get off a nice and powerful bit of damage to the Donphan or the Bramblegast or whoever wants to come in. So let's go for an Earthquake first. So they withdraw the Clodsire. There's no reason for me to not go for the Earthquake really here, as Iron Jugulis does come in, because now all we need to do is just outspeed this thing and go for a Supercell Slam, and we should do a lot of damage to it. Alternatively, we could go into Incineroar, but I kind of want to risk it for a Biscuit. I want to go for that Supercell Slam. I'm going to go for it. They do go for a U-turn. So we stayed in. They've gone for a U-turn. They might be expecting the Ice Spinner. So that makes me think they won't go into Clodsire or Donphan here, which would be nice. They may go into Quackable. But unfortunately, it's Donphan that comes in, which is a real shame. A Supercell Slam is obviously going to fail, which means we're going to take some damage in return, which is going to do a lot of damage. We keep going and crashed. So I'm leaning towards a different approach here. I'm looking at Iron Treads against their team. Gets outsped by the Iron Jugulis. Typhlosion's probably Scarfed. Quackable 1v1s it perfectly well. They've got 2 ground types and a Bramblegast. I think we're better off just going for damage here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because they might go for a Stealth Rock here. That's the thing. And then we can 2-shot the Donphan. There we go. They've gone for a Stealth Rock as expected. So that's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So with that in mind, let's go for another EQ. There's no real reason not to. There we go. Take out their Donphan. Iron Treads got a KO at least. It may have failed the Supercell Slam tech, but, you know, it's what it is. It is what it is. Okay, now comes in Iron Jugulis, which is, you know, fine. They've got the Stealth Rocks up. We can still save Iron Treads for later, so I'm going to switch into my Incineroar, because my Incineroar is specially defensive. We can definitely eat up any hit this thing wants to throw at us. So let's just go for it, as there we go. Tigger comes in. Gets that Intimidate off, lowering the power of the U-turn at least. And they go for a Dark Pulse, which is perfect. So that's going to do minimal damage to Incineroar. And now we can assume they're going to switch out, because these things are usually choiced when they're not booster energy. So I go for a Parting Shot here. They do withdraw the Iron Jugulis, so we've got a bit of momentum coming up. And they're bringing Quackable, which is perfect. So Quackable does come in. Quackable does come in. We go for a Parting Shot, lowering its physical attack and special attack, which is perfect. And then we'll switch out into something else to take this thing on. And I'm leaning towards Iron Treads again. I am leaning towards Iron Treads again, and I'll tell you why. Because now it's in a very unique position where we could go for a Supercell Slam, baiting the Clodsire and go for an EQ. But if they predict that and go for an Aqua Step here, it's a bit of a gamble. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's a gamble that I'm willing to take, because at the end of the day, Iron Treads doesn't do much for us anymore. They're probably going to... Yeah, I'm going to go for a Supercell Slam here. So we do go for this. They do stay in like I thought they would. Unfortunately, it's not enough to get a KO, but it very well nearly does the job. As down goes Elon Tusk. So they've got a +1 speed now, which makes them faster than everything on my team. But they're back to neutral attack. However, it's not a big deal, because at the end of the day, we've got Scizor in the back with priority Bullet Punch, which can just take care of this Quackable no problem. In fact, it takes care of the majority of its team. So I can do that, or I could go hard Suicune and go for a Scald. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the safe game and go for a Scizor switch. I would have, like, you know, well, Suicune could definitely take a hit. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's Water Absorb on Clodsire, which is why they brought it in earlier. So I didn't want to risk it too much. So let's go for a BP anyway. There we go. They're going to let us take the Quackable out. As down it goes, down and out for the count. So perfect. No Quackable sweeps today. I feel like every time I face a Quackable, I get swept by it, which is hilarious. Alright, Typhlosion is in. This thing hits like a truck. It hits like a truck with them eruptions. It knows we're Choice Banded now. What do I do here? So I'm thinking Incineroar, straight up. I am thinking Incineroar. We can go for a knockoff, which would be really useful against their entire team. I'm going to go for the Incineroar switch. It's pretty obvious that we're going to go Incineroar, so they might go for a Focus Blast, but I'm hoping they don't. So they actually make a double switch, baiting us to switch out ourselves, and they're going to go into the Iron Jugglers, which actually still works out nicely for us, as we end up going into our Incineroar. So we're in a decent position now, because all we need to do is go for a knockoff, and we can get rid of the thing's item, no problem. So we'll get the Intimidate off, which doesn't matter really. We can go for a knockoff here, or a potting shot if we want to. I am going to go for the knockoff option, because there's the Hurricane. We're going to eat this up, watch. There we go. We eat it up like it's nothing. We knock off there, I'm assuming, Choice Specs. Choice Specs it was. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So now they could go for a U-turn or something along those lines. They might expect us to switch, expecting them to go for a Hurricane again. I am going to keep Incineroar in, and I'm going to go for a parting shot here. They do miss the Hurricane, which is brilliant for us. Absolutely brilliant, as I go for the parting shot, which is obviously going to lower their attack and their special attack even further than the Intimidate already lowered it. So Incineroar comes back to me. Let's see what we can go into here to take on the Iron Jugglers. I'm leaning towards Scizor, but they're no longer choice locked, which means if they have Flamethrower, we're in a bit of a pickle. I'm also leaning towards Suicune, because Ice Beam hurts their team really well. I'm going to go for the Suicune play, and I'll tell you why. Because their best switching is Typhlosion. So I can actually predict the Typhlosion switch, but they more than likely go into Clodsire. So I am going to go for the Ice Beam play. They do go for a U-turn, which is going to do minimal damage because the -2 attack. And they probably go Clodsire here or Typhlosion. I'm going to assume Clodsire. Yeah, Clodsire, the chipper comes in, which is great for us. So I want to take out this Clodsire now. So this Ice Beam better do enough damage. We got the freeze! We got the freeze with a Suicune! That's good. I was actually I was disappointed in the damage that it did. But then I saw the freeze and I was like, yeah, let's go for an Ice Beam. They do withdraw the Clodsire, which is good, because it means we can potentially freeze something else here. They bring in Typhlosion, who isn't going to appreciate the... it's not going to be... They found our choice specs. That's it. We're outed now. So we go for an Ice Beam again. Still does some decent damage considering. Oh my god, the double freeze! Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? That is crazy. That is crazy. The double freeze. Oh, wow. So we're going to withdraw our Suicune here. And I do hope they 4 out, because freeze is such an unfair stats affliction. And to get it twice in a row like that is incredible. Incredible. So they do, in fact, stay frozen solid, which is a shame. Which means we get a free knockoff off on whatever we want. They still have another chance to out 4 here and go for a Focus Blast if they want to. So they withdraw the Typhlosion. They don't want it to get knocked off, which makes a lot of sense. And they're going to go into the Iron Jugglers, who is already knocked off, which means that we can kind of go from there. So we go for a knockoff, does some decent damage, not going to lie. Critical hit. Wow, the hacks is on my side today. That's for sure. Now I'm pretty confident that an Overheal KO. They missed the Hurricane again. This is just a travesty. And down goes the Iron Jug. So a critical hit Overheal. What is this hacks? What is the hacks in this game? What on earth is the hacks in this game? That's absolutely crazy. A double freeze and then a double crit. You couldn't write this stuff. Right, Brambleghast comes in. So I'm a little bit concerned to what Brambleghast is going to do to us other than the obvious strength sap. So I'm going to go for a knockoff real quick. They're actually going to Tera. So what type are they going to Tera into here to take on our Incineroar? That's a good question. So they're going to go into a Ghost type. So we're going to go full power Ghost. Probably going for a Poltergeist right now, which is going to sting a lot. It may even KO. There's the Poltergeist. And our heavy duty boots are going to slap us in the face real quick. So there we go. Poltergeist comes through. Is it going to KO? It does KO the Tigger. So that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So now we're in a very, 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 very good position. I mean, you know, for real. I want to go into Suicune and go for a Hydro Pump. I really do. But they probably have Power Whip. So instead, what I'm going to do... No, you know what? I'm going to go with the Suicune play. And I'll tell you why. basically, we have Tera Electric, which allows us to be neutral to the Power Whip, which means with Suicune's natural bulk, we should in theory live. So I'm going to go for that Hydro Pump with Tera Electric, just to avoid the Power Whip, and just to show off this cool new Tera thing with Suicune. I want to see the crown on Suicune's head. And it looks amazing. It looks amazing. It just sits perfectly on its little crest thing. Granted, it's clipping through it a little bit, but it is what it is. As they do go for a Power Whip, which does connect. We live because we're the Tera Electric, and we hit the Hydro Pump. And are we able to KO the Brambleghast? We are able to KO the Brambleghast as Suicune claims another soul. So Suicune not only froze the Typhlosion, it froze the Clodsire. And now Clodsire's coming in like, yeah, I'm frozen and all that, but you know, it is what it is. What a crying shame. So I'm going to go in Scizor now. Pretty sure Scizor finishes the game up. Could be wrong. Could be very wrong here. So we're going to go in Scizor. I'm hoping they 4 out though. I do feel bad for the freeze hacks. I really do. They do 4 out with the Clodsire, which is nice, and they go for a Spikes. So Spikes is an interesting play to go for there. So that's actually going to stop us from switching in Suicune again. It means next time we switch Suicune in, it'll go down to hazards, because Stealth Rocks alone wouldn't have KO'd it. But this will. So now I'm going to go for a BP. They do withdraw the Clodsire, which is fair, to be expected. And they're going to bring in Typhlosion, the reliable partner, once again. So with that thing being frozen, we don't really have to worry about it too much. It could 4 out at any turn now. But let's see how much Bullet Punch does. Is that enough for a 2-hit KO? No. Is it? Let's sack off Suicune real quick. So we'll sack Suicune. We'll go into Como. And then we'll just kind of go from there. Because the Clodsire is weakened anyway. So there we go. Yeah, the stones are going to dig in. And then the spike's going to dig in, taking out our Suicune. So Suicune did good though. Like I said, it froze 2 Pokemon. KO'd another one. I think it did alright. We didn't get to actually utilize the Tera Electric, but it's still going to make a killer thumbnail, that's for sure. Alright, we're going to bring in Como real quick, and hopefully we can finish this up before the timer runs out. So let's go for that Clangorous Soul real quick, which is obviously going to lower our defenses, but we should be alright here. We withdraw the Typhlosion, which is fair enough. They withdraw the Typhlosion, the frozen Typhlosion, which doesn't make any sense. Fire type shouldn't be able to be frozen. Doesn't make any sense at all. Unless you can freeze fire and I'm just being dumb. I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Well, Clodsire is there. I have a feeling that Stab Clanging Scales, then again, it's base 110. I'm going to go for it and see if it KOs. If it doesn't KO, then it doesn't KO. It does KO with a critical hit. Oh, wow. Okay, so Hax is definitely on our side this game. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy, that is. But it turned out to be a decent battle regardless. So, you know, it's a pretty fun game between me and Chris right here. So, in comes Typhlosion, who is frozen. And it looks like we're going to be able to finish up this game with one. Oh, they 4 out. Never mind. Calm Mind. I mean, Calm Minding with 6 seconds left is bold. But I'm assuming they did that because they didn't think they would 4 out, / there's no point because there's no more time left. But we finish off the Typhlosion, and that is going to be the game with 0 seconds left. So GG Pokemon, so that was a pretty fun one, and also a pretty funny one, because that Hax was terrible. But anyway, here is the team. Try it out if you want to. Use the code at the top right corner of the screen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, of course, leave a like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.